Bisi is here. Bisi is here. Bisi is here. You see, she is very punctual. Okay, hi Bisi. I'm really excited to see you. I've sent you an invite. If you could join so we can get started and people can then join us once they start logging in. Did you get the invite or should I send it again? Okay, it's still there. So just look out for the invite. Hey! Oh, hi, Bisi. You look so beautiful.
Oh,
Very, very beautiful.
dear.
I love your glasses. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
Oh, yeah, I'm well. I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for, I know you have a busy schedule during the week. So thank you for making out the time to join. It's very much appreciated. And people that are also joining us, thank you. If you know anybody that should be here, please send them invites. I've tried to send invites. Let me see if I can send more invites. I've just done that again. So thank you so much, BC. Thank you, thank you, thank you very, very much. So we are still celebrating the Black History Month. Are you guys doing anything in your constituency right now to celebrate the Black History Month?
Yeah, so I know that the Labour Party is
Mm.
organized a series of events to mark Black History Month, and that's really what all of us are tying into.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good. Use yourself in terms of what you do, and then we can get started.
Fantastic. Thank you for the introduction and thanks for the invitation as well. It's great to have this discussion with you on your platform. So my name is Bisi Osundeko and I'm a Labour councillor our ward in St. Helens, and I'm also a businesswoman as well. And yeah, I wear so many hats: a mom, a wife, what else? Uh, Property investor, an author, three-time author. So I've recently, a couple of months ago, just recently published my book. And yeah, so many hats.
I can see we like it. You see, that is one thing that all the women that I've invited so far they have in common. They are women that wear different hats, and that's what makes it amazing. You are women that know that you can be more. You are made for more. You just need to apply yourself. So we're talking about breaking the glass ceiling. So we all know that as a metaphor for people that have done outstanding things in areas where this is not usually the norms. So they've come there like a trailblazer, the broken and the shattered the glass ceilings. By doing that, they've made ways for other people to then come in as well. So in a way, they are kind of a pace setter. In short, they are a pace setter, and you happen to be one of them. So you and I know, living in the UK, that St. Helen is predominantly white-dominated area. So please, you can talk us through the story. How did you even have the confidence to go like, I know who I am. I'm going to go in there and, become a politician. How did you do it? Can you just talk us through it?
Oh, yeah, you're very correct. You're really correct, Coach Sonia. St. Helens is predominantly white. However, I got inspired to put myself forward a couple of years ago when it all started. To be very honest, it's almost like a puzzle, really, because I can't say it was only one motivation. I had several motivations. So I'm just going to talk about.
Okay.
So the first was around the time, because I've known you for about 10 years or more. So around
Yeah.
the time I was to relocate to St. Helens,
Yeah.
uh, a couple of people were trying to discourage me from
Mm.
moving to St. Helens, and there was almost this expectation that people will look like me, or
Mm-hmm.
people like me shouldn't live in areas that are non-diverse. And so I didn't understand why a lady who sat next to me in church was really shocked that, I said we're moving to St. Helens, and she was like, why do you have to live in such a non-diverse area? I said to her that we found the house that we loved because we were house hunting at the time in St. Helens, and I just naturally fell in love with my neighbors, with St. Helens. And I think St. Helens is really a place where you have to be here to really see how
Yeah.
friendly and hospitable people are here. And I think it made me curious as to why people were sort of discouraging me about moving to St. Helens. And there was a nurse who apparently was trying to discourage me as well. And she was like, you know, this town, there's been historical issues with the children's services. And I know that your two children have special needs.
Yeah.
She knows that my two children are disabled, and so she thought perhaps living in a bigger city would mean that they have access to the right services.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, actually, what you're saying, I was saying that to my mind, that if you're saying that the town, you know, they have issues, that it might just be that there's a chance for me to be able to help. And
That's right.
I just jokingly told her that all my years as a mom to these wonderful children who can have a disability, I've constantly fought for my children, you know, to get the right services, to get the right medications. I'm asking doctors questions about this. Is not something that I in a way prepared for, but life basically trusts that upon me. You will
That's
find
right.
meet a mom of a child with special needs, and I've got
Yeah.
two who isn't a fighter or advocate of some sort. You're constantly advocating, you know, like in my daughter's case, who was nonverbal, somebody has to be her voice. So
That's right.
exactly. So this was something I was already doing without a title or without anyone actually knowing who I was. So when the woman said, "Oh, you know, for the children's services, it might be that you might struggle with your children in the
Yeah.
town," I said, "Look, I know how to feed children, and I can tell you that my experience, all these years of my children, you know, I can." So I said, so she said something about he who shouts the loudest or something like that. In, you know, there are some areas where if you want to get something for your child, you have to, maybe even the right school, you have to press. And I said, that's my specialty. I am a fighter. And I was like, no. I told
I
them,
love it when you said you are a fighter.
I said, so kind of another motivation was we then moved to St. Helens. We loved the area. We loved the house. We wanted to the house we found in St. Helens. And when I moved, I certainly noticed I was getting a lot of stares, and it wasn't, people were like, I don't think there weren't many people who looked like us in St. Helens
That's
back.
right.
And when it was time for me to do my citizenship ceremony, I was walking through the town hall, and you know, I don't know about like where you live, your city hall or your town hall. They usually have the photos of all the mayors, and for St. Helens, you can just see like in I would guess that in some areas you will see a mix of diversity, or you will, but this was predominantly men, white men, mostly old men, you know, like us, mayors. So listen, what about some areas like Sheffield where you've had youngsters, mayors, and you've had people of African or Asian heritage, and I thought, wow. So I just jokingly said to my husband that, oh, actually, this town can do with some diversity.
That's right.
And I wasn't even thinking politics then. I just said it to him. That was my citizenship ceremony, and anyone who's been through that will know that it's a very joyous occasion.
Right.
I haven't been through all the hurdles of immigration and stuff, so I just said that as a joke and walked through. But then my husband actually encouraged me a few years after that to put myself forward, and he said, "Look, you know, I know that you've always been involved in the community, all the cities that we've lived in, and I think you'd be a perfect fit." And so I didn't, you know, it's impossible to just be a counselor straight away because you do have to be involved. So I actually started by being a volunteer, which is something I naturally do.
Yeah.
You know, that alongside my business, kids. So that was the route that I came into politics. I volunteered as a CLP secretary for for my town. So that's St. Helens South and Weston. I was a CLP secretary, and I was also the BIM officer as well. And so, you know, when you're involved and you're going for campaigns and you are in meetings where the MPs are speaking and the councillors are speaking, you naturally get inspired to want to add your voice, because really there are some certain issues that I'm passionate about that I don't think anybody pick up, if you understand what I mean.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. You were a bit, I lost you a bit there. Went a bit fluctuating and then I got you back.
Okay.
Right. It's very interesting. You are really, really brave, Bisi, because you said it, right? But you were not like serious about it. But one thing I believe in when you speak things to being, when you write things, when when you say it, you've already planted that seed. And your husband was the water that watered the seed. You did the planting by saying, wow, you challenge the status quo. Because sometimes we tend to go back and go, how come I cannot see anybody like me on the seat? Like I always tell people, I'm sure a lot of people here have heard me say it. If there is no space on the table, go and make your own table, come and attach it to it, and go on. Stop complaining, because complaining will not do anything. So I love what you did. You said it. Your husband saw you plant that seed and then he watered it. It was the sunshine to ensure that that seed was well nourished. And then you got into it, and bit by bit. There's no such thing. I always believe that there's a process to everything. There's always a process. You didn't just go right in there. They don't know you. You don't even know the system. I just jump in. This is why a lot of people fail. And they're like, oh, why did I fail? They didn't vote for me because I'm black. No, you jumped the process. You jumped the learning stage. We have to learn to serve before we lead. It is very, very important. If you don't know how to serve, you will not know how to lead. That is a lot of problem that we see around. People want to have a position, people want to have a title. They don't have a good motive for going into their seat. But with the way you've gone about it now, so I'm talking to Councillor Bisi Osundeko, who are just joining us, and we're talking about breaking the glass ceiling. And so she's taking us through the system and the process that she went through to become a councillor, not voted once but twice in her constituency. That is actually a big deal if you live in the UK, because that is something for her to be voted a second time. It means she's been tried and tested, and they see her that she is capable, even more than capable, to serve again. So I know you just said it. I did this, I did that. What are the hurdles that you faced in this process?
So, quite a number of hurdles, as you can
Mm,
imagine. I would say that politics in itself has been historically male dominated,
mm,
and the first hurdle is the fact that you're a woman,
mm,
and black woman as well. Then being someone from an African descent, then being
mm.
an you know, even under the title of Black and Asian minority, ethnic minority people, we have some people who are actually born here. They are used to the system, but I've had to learn from the scratch because I
Yeah,
wasn't born here, so as an immigrant. So I've certainly had to overcome that hurdle of
mm,
not understanding the system and having
yeah,
to scratch. Obviously, the life in the UK test and all the certainly helps, but nothing really beats going out there into your community to get involved and see how you can actually be of help to people
yeah,
or really get to know people very well. Um, the fact that I very obviously, I'm very Nigerian in the way I look, in the way I talk, in my name. I constantly, face this barrier of, and I think a lot of people will look like me and talk like me would have faced it. Oh, where are you originally from? And
mm,
when no, where were you born? All the sort of things,
Yeah.
It's almost some sort of unwritten rule that, well, you don't actually belong here. That's
Mm.
so, there was a lot of I got that quite a lot, especially the first year that I actually got elected. I got a lot of where are you from, things like that. And also these issue about accent as well.
Mm.
I think a lot of people from my background we face that, where you just stand out. You just stand out because obviously you don't sound like everybody else, and feeling as though you don't fit in. If
Mm.
you're feeling as though you don't fit in, and um, as somebody who is black and not just like visibly black, you do, actually walking into several rooms, several committees, and being the only visibly black person or person of African descent in the room brings, in itself, you do need some level of courage. You
Yeah.
From time to time, you do need to be bold. And during the time when I was actually um, trying to contest for my election, I faced a lot of questioning where it was almost as though I had to I had to justify my motive, because
Mm.
when it looks as though you're from somewhere else or you're an immigrant, people really do want to understand whether you can fit in or whether you can understand, because our job as counselors is to represent people. I'll be speaking about bad roads or schools or social care, and they really want to know. It's almost as though you have to prove that you know
Mm.
what you're doing if you
Yeah.
what I mean. And so these were challenges. And in terms of my own personal challenges, obviously, I've mentioned earlier that a carer, to my children were born with special, that in itself had I would say in a way has already put me as a disadvantage of some sort. I have to
Yeah.
do multitasking because I have to go to hospitals quite a lot, lots of therapy appointments, uncountable hospital trips, or having to ring a number. Like you just don't. You can be here on Monday and you don't know what's going to happen on Tuesday,
That's
because
true.
do you know that sort of a thing? So carers face lots of hurdles. I mean, I was speaking in a particular event, and we were actually highlighting about the issues and challenges that women who are carers actually face. It's not just women who are carers or their children who are disabled. We have some women who are relatives or their siblings. A lot of the caring responsibilities fall on women,
Mm-hmm.
and that in itself hinders many women. And
Yeah.
because when you're even exhausted, how do you want to read a committee paper? So,
Yeah.
when we have to go for some of our meetings, you need to see some of our committee papers are this huge, and you
Wow.
just read them and digest the information so that you will be able to contribute in the meetings, to the discussions. And when you're a counselor, there are regular debates that you have to be able to speak up. So when you're dealing with that sort of a thing at home, you're exhausted and things like that, or you're dealing with a child that is constantly very needy. So I'm just saying that these were barriers, these were personal hurdles that I had to face,
Yes.
be able to get there. And the fact that I was running my business, I just had a lot that a lot that I had to basically
Yeah.
multitask. So I had to be a superb manager of my time, if you
Mm.
understand, because obviously there would be lots of demands.
That's right.
So I just had to learn over time how to manage everything, really.
Wow. You make it sound. I'm glad that you highlighted the issues, the personal and the professional issues that you face. But you make it sound as if it was easy. And you and I know that it was not easy. It takes a lot of determination to say, despite all of this, I am still going to carry on. I'm still going to be a great mom. a great wife, a great businesswoman, and then be a counselor like Queen Bee said. He said they are meant to solve the constituency problems. But you taking one out of, even sometimes you're not able to pull the other out when one of them is sliding in again. So maybe one art is facing the front, another art is facing the back. Yeah, it is a lot. So if you're out there and you are saying, oh, because of the children, I can't do much with my life, please be inspired and find a way to navigate on how you can manage your time so that you can also find fulfillment while you are serving your children. It is very, very important that we also leave as we are bringing our children up, because sooner rather than later they are going to leave, and then you're going to be asking yourself and asking, what did I do with my time? Queen B said, thank you for all you do, Councillor. Queen B is appreciating you. Thank you, Queen B. So yeah, I thought I would say that. So in terms of the support, what kind of support did you get from the community? And I know your husband is a strong support as well. What other support did you get? Because you trying to come into the community to come and help us, the few blacks there, did you really feel supported by them? And what support did you actually get out there?
So, I mean, it's great that you actually highlighted that my husband, has been a huge supporter. I would say
Okay.
we're all looking to go into politics. I mean, in this context, we're talking about women, black women. The support of your partner or your family rather is so important, because you have to carry your family along. You will need your family's support in every way. I mean, if you're not able to convince your family about your political ambition, then how much more outsiders or your voters, because you will be convincing voters that you're the right candidates. So you do have to deal with that first of all. Try to convince your family that this is what you want to do, that you believe you're the right thing to do this, and then with your family support, you can then go out. So the advantage of being a member of a political party in the UK is that they have structures in place to
Mm,
support you. And I'm really proud to be a member of the Labour Party, of the UK Labour Party, because the the system that's been put in place to support candidates is really strong, both at local levels and national levels. So
mhm,
as soon as you actually cross that hurdle, because obviously you go through phases. I was interviewed, I had to answer questions, I had to write statements to explain what I've done for the community and how I think I'm the best fit, I'm the right candidate. So you do have to go through all that phase. But once it gets to that stage where your name is in the ballot paper and you're actually counting down your election, people actually rally around. And this is the importance of being a part of a really good party. My party really supported me. People were there to help me deliver my leaflets, because the way the elections work in the UK, we're quite traditional. We do lots of face-to-face talking. We still, whilst there's social media now, we do a lot of door knocking where we have to talk to
mhm,
people face to face. We have to knock on doors. We have to put leaflets through people's doors, and we also have to go to community centers as well, um, to speak to the residents, to ask if there's any problems they have with their bins or security or their, housing problems, anything like that. So it's really being involved and saying that I want to be your voice. I'm the person who will take your matters to the town hall. I'm the one who will take the issues that you're facing to the council. And um, I was actually quite touched that there were people who came from outside St. Helens to support me. So it wasn't just
mhm,
about my party or my family. I had people who actually came. Because if you think about it, for somebody from my background, my victory, in a way, I think, in that election is not just for me or for my family, it's also for in a way, I think,
mhm,
black person. I had um, I had friends who came from outside St. Helens, a pastor friend. I was really touched. They were there to help me distribute my leaflets. I had people sending me emails asking for the dates that I will be out and about so that they can help me to deliver my leaflets and knock on doors. But I think the foot soldier in my election was my husband, whilst I had an election agent. So when you're up for election, the party will assign you an election agent. Your agent basically helps to coordinate all your campaign efforts. However, my husband was my unofficial agent. Even days when I didn't have to knock on doors, because you have days when you have to rest, my husband would be like, let's go out. We've not knocked on doors on this street. And it got to a point where we will knock on some doors and people will say that you've already knocked on my door. I know what BC is. I was very touched. So I was very touched on a particular day when we usually take turns. I'll be in the car resting with the kids and my husband will be out there. And so it was my husband's turn to actually drop the leaflets. Obviously, the leaflets has my picture on just to let people know what day they'll be voting. And the people had heard about me so much, they were excited that I had knocked on their doors to talk to them, that some people came outside and neighbors started asking each other, oh, BC and stuff like that. And they then started chanting.
Yeah.
I actually shared that experience
That is so touching.
that was so touching. Like my husband, isn't someone who would easily feel emotional, but he felt so emotional. Like, wow, this is,
Mm.
there is nothing about them not able to pronounce the name, which was even why I had to say, okay, just call me BC rather than bother about Adebisi, because that Adebisi used to confuse them. So just say, just call me BC. I think BC, like they came out and they were so happy because people do like to be spoken to.
Yes.
Not on doors. Even people who disagreed with my party, or some people wouldn't, who were not happy to see a black person, being a leader in their town. The fact that you showed them respect and you knocked on
Yeah.
their door, you know,
Yes.
there was somebody who came to the polling station and he actually said that, well, even though I wasn't very, very positive when Bisi knocked my door, I am very, very touched and honored that Bisi actually spoke to me at my door. you know.
Oh,
And
wow.
why it's so important that we do have to continue to talk to people. People love to be spoken. People love to be listened to. Most
Mm.
importantly, people want to know that you value them and you value their votes and their support.
Mm. Wow, BC, those are really, really important facts that you've just I'm just gonna unpick it a little bit, right? These words that she has spoken, if you are a business person, is applicable. If you're in career, is applicable. If you want to go into politics, if you want to work with people, in short, if you associate with human being, please take if there is only one thing you take away from this interview tonight is people love to be respected. Even children. Everyone loves to be respected and everyone loves to be listened to. Those two things. If that's the only thing you take away from what Councillor Bisi has just said, please take those two things and run with it. Your customers, your colleagues, the people that you serve, the people that serve you, they love to be respected. They love to be listened to. So apply that, and I'm sure those glass ceilings, you are going to be shattering it. So, BC, I've got another question. Like, in Nigeria, they do godfatherism and all of those stuff. So, please tell us, who is your godfather here?
Well, thank you for making me laugh. There's nothing like that here. Well, at least that nothing like that I am aware of. It is a concept that I've never encountered at all.
Mm.
But there are people who you will meet on your journey, on your political, who will be your supporters, and they want to make sure that you succeed. But I
Yeah.
can't. I can't even call them godfathers. Basically, people who live in my ward, residents,
Mm.
but from that Nigerian perspective of that whole concept of godfatherism that we all know about,
Yeah.
my opinion, it does not exist because
Mm.
here in the UK, the way politics is done, it is a level playing field. It is a level playing field, and anybody at all, and this is the reason why anybody at all can attain, can get there. Anybody can get there. Anybody can serve. You were talking about my experience as a carer, my experience as a mom, as a
Mm.
businesswoman. Um, I haven't come from an overly political background, whilst my dad dabbled into politics whilst I was young, but it was mainly grassroots politics right there in Lagos, in Ikorodu, where I'm from. But I would say that for me myself, I don't think I've come from an overly political background. So just to tell you
Mm.
that anybody can get there if you want to. If you want it, you can get there. Shortly after I was elected, I was invited to a community center to speak to mainly people. I would say that the audience was predominantly Black, and it was somewhere in Manchester. And it was also Black History Month as well. They wanted to see, they wanted me to share how to encourage more, because clearly in many areas we don't have a lot of people from our background, people who are Black and of ethnic minority background. Then we don't even have a lot of immigrants who are involved in politics. And so they just wanted to hear from somebody from my background. I would say that the audience was predominantly Nigerian or maybe Ghanaian as well. And from some of the questions that I was asked, you can see that people certainly have this idea that only certain people can, maybe people of privilege or something, can go into politics. You know, that absolutely shocked me. You know,
Mm.
there were people were asking about the incentives and all, which for me, which is the reason why I highlighted that I was a volunteer. You know, if you're in politics for money, I think you're definitely in the wrong field. You understand?
Mm.
You know, because you do have to have that passion. You do have to have that passion, really. And um, I just, I just sort of saw it that there was a lot of conception about a lot of misconceptions about people who were into politics, and it was almost as though, as Black people, we feel as though we are born to be followers and not leaders. You
Mm.
know,
Mm.
I was trying to make them see that, but the people are doing it, they don't have two heads, if you know what I mean. They don't have
That's
two.
right. That's
There,
right.
there are times when I would listen to speeches, I would listen to some leaders, and I'll be like, I can do better than that. You know,
Mm.
so why do I have to let my accent or my color or my background
Yeah,
back? You know,
that's right.
know. So it is really important for us to believe that our voices matter, that we can do it, that the things that we bring to the table also matter. The
That's
perspective
right.
that we have on certain issues will be different. Prior to being a counselor, like I said, I built my CV with mainly volunteering because I was already running a business. So earning a living wasn't a problem. I was running a business from home at the time. So I knew that I wanted to give back to the community. So I got appointed as a school governor. And I can remember that around the table as well. There was no, even though that area was in Bolton, it was more diverse, but there was nobody else that was speaking for the children
Mm.
of refugees or asylum seekers, because
Mm.
they were not able to relate. You know, they were saying something about some children that are likely to bring down the scores of the school because the children didn't speak good English or something. But I was the only person who was able to use my lived experiences to speak up. So our voices matter. On that table of decision making, the perspective that we bring, you know, really matter. The way we see things will be different. So the way somebody who is not from our background will see it. So we just need to see that our voices, like, we have something to contribute. You said something about being a mother as well. Some of us mothers, like people who have been, because my specialty really is saying to mothers that, you know, the fact that you've been a work at home mom, you know, if you look at me and see the fact that I started from being, I started my business by being a work at home mom. So my specialty is to say to people that you can do it. And mothers, we have transferable skills. We have transferable skills so we can, you know, you will hear for some, I used to run a support group where it was mainly peer-to-peer support. So I would just mainly gather mothers, and we want to encourage each other. You know, many of the mothers that I was supporting, they were mothers who had children with special needs. So life already placed barriers in front of us, like I was talking about myself. So I was able to relate with these mothers because I was also walking that same path of being a mother and a carer. But when I was talking to the mothers about aspiration, a lot of them were saying, well, um, I'm only a mother. I don't like to hear that. Only, no, it's a big deal. You're
Yes.
a traitor, you're a doctor, you're a nurse, can you tell me what mothers cannot do? So I was
Hmm.
like, if you're to write your CV as a mother and list the things that you do, you're a fighter, you're like a barrister, an advocate, you're doing all those things. Some of the things that we're doing, organizational skills around the house. If mothers are to list their attributes and the things that they do, that we completely underestimate ourselves.
That's right.
And so that's why this thing we say about just a mother. Well, I was a mother, I'm still a mother, and I became a politician. And I became, the founder of the best-selling baby wearing brand in the UK. So I do not think it's okay for us to underestimate ourselves by saying I'm just that word just a mother is like we use that prefix of some sort to sort of belittle our achievements. When you look at the amount of money that mothers are saving the UK government by these caring responsibilities, we have a lot to contribute. So if guys, clearly some mothers will remain full-time mothers, or maybe mothers who are even working from home. But if a mother decides that she wants to go into other careers, you can't include, and that's why I said my specialty is getting mothers out there, mothers who want to be more, to say, but I've done this, I've done that, I've done this. You know, you can't, those skills are transferable. I want
Hmm.
to see that the things that you're doing, caring for their child, keeping the child safe, managing the home, there's so many things, multitasking, those skills, we just need to dig deep and think those skills that we've acquired, they are completely transferable. It just depends on how you sort of see your contribution and your value, and how you word it in your CV.
Thank you so much, BC. That is just, you see, BC has charged you. Please stop underselling yourself. Stop saying I'm just a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
You know what you are. She just told you. You are the manager of the house. You are the lawyer. You are the coordinator. You are the supervisor, right? You wear so many hats that you just devalue yourself. Why, women? Please, let's learn from this. When you're talking about being a governor, I was a governor in my children's school. And I remember, you know why a lot of people don't want to be a governor? Because they think they don't want, there is not people like them that should be there. And
Yeah.
another thing again, the times we used to hold meetings was in the nights.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm coming from work and then I have to dedicate that time. And then sometimes they send folders like this that we have to read before the meetings. Not a lot of people want to commit to that. Not a lot of people. But the truth is, yes, original CEO, but the truth is, if you do not stay in the place where decisions are made, when those decisions are made, you can't complain. You can't be staying in the complaining table when you can move and shuffle yourself to where the decisions are made. Look at what's going on right now. The Prime Minister, we can see what is going on right now. Positioning. We can see what is going on. Okay, 18 years ago, I would never have thought this was possible, but we are living it.
Yes.
We are living it. See, let me tell you something. We should stop complaining because I'm a woman, because I'm black.
Yeah.
Those that go for it, they grab the opportunity by the head and they are rolling with it. And when they are rolling with it, don't start saying it's because you don't put it on race, don't put it on gender. That ship has already sailed, it has moved. People like BC, they've shattered the glass ceiling. People like Doyin that I interviewed the first time, they've shattered the glass ceiling. And Mary that I invited, they've shattered it. People like myself, do you know how many times I have transitioned? I have transitioned from one thing to another, right? And when you're talking about transition, if you need support with transitioning, just send me a message on my DM, because when you want to transition, you might find it daunting, fear of the unknown and everything. But if you know what you're doing, I'm telling you, you can transition to be whoever you want to be and shatter those ceilings. Now, Bisi is not just a politician. Now, she's a lady that also have a company which she started from home. BC used to make these baby carrier, the baby carrier, right? She used to make it by herself. This is not, I read it. I saw her. I saw her do it. And then as she was able to, she did not have a shop front. As she was able to now, please talk us through it. How you were able to, those days where you used to do your YouTube, where you used to show people how to do it. And then before you start outsourcing, now you have a manufacturing company. Not just that, she's winning award all over the place. It is possible. Bisi, please just talk us through it. Positioning, that's right.
Thank you so much, Coach Sonia.
Mhm.
I was laughing or smiling because I just remember, like both of us, I remember those days, So actually, my story has been documented, I've shared it. But I am glad that I'm talking to somebody who was there at the beginning.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can remember those days, sewing machine, you were there because there are times when, people encounter us, but myself or my husband, and they really cannot fathom or grasp the scale of the business. And
Yeah.
know, I'm constantly trying to say to people that I actually started from the scratch. No money, no connections, no nothing, no idea on how businesses are run in the UK. I wasn't born here. I don't have family. We've never lived here or anything. I had to learn everything from the scratch.
Mm,
I didn't even have up to £100 to start my business. And so my sewing machine was even a second-hand sewing machine. So
mm,
I'm glad that, because, Coach Sonia that I'm speaking to is someone I've known for many years. I've known you for many years. And I didn't even realize that you still remember because it's a long time. Just
yeah.
tiny, so at the times I didn't even realize that you still remember those days, you know. And so I think clearly at the time I was doing something that I really, really love and enjoy because I've always been a creative and somebody who loves to do stuff in my hands. I share this in my book as well, but I didn't even realize that the consistency and the passion that I was putting into it was going to pay off at some point. You
Mm,
when I shared something about when we're running our businesses and we're starting from home, we just want to make a little money to be able to buy toys for our children and to be able to clearly I had a spouse who was working. So it was easy for me to say, well, just fold my arms. But I'm not that sort of woman. From the woman who raised me, I just wanted to do something. I
mm,
to contribute. And I thought, if I just want to buy something small for myself, I should be able to do that really without having to go to my husband. So I, so even prior to doing that, I was even child-minded as well. I was an
mm,
child-minded because I thought that was something I was able to do from home, care for my children, and I had offered, stipulate how many extra children I could take. And then in the evenings, I had my sewing machine. I would
mm,
make bibs for babies, and then I also started making the baby carriers. And so I was selling my products on eBay at the time, which is one of the most fantastic test marketing sites. Obviously, I haven't been paid by eBay to promote them. This is just my story. In fact, because it's a long time ago, it's over 12 years ago, I don't know how eBay is like right now for businesses. So whilst I've always said it, like I said it in my book, that my story my rise to the top business wise it's something that anybody can replicate, if you know what I mean. For
yeah.
example, I read my story and she wrote me and she said, "Oh, after I read your story, I got inspired to actually um, volunteer in my community." And she put
Mm,
herself for governorship. It was something she probably had never thought about, but she was inspired that if someone who looks like me, from Nigeria, an immigrant, they say we have a thick accent. Yes, we have a thick accent, and we're still doing it. So she was, but, but however, I am also, I get really emotional when I remember how things were at the
mm,
beginning, where you can't say that you've completely figured everything out, but you're just taking every single day at a time. You're just putting it. And that's why it's really important for you to be very consistent. You know, you're doing something, you know, and you're not entirely sure what it's going to be like in future, but you're just like little drops the same make a mighty ocean, right? You
Yeah.
just every single day. I could not even afford to, at the time I started my business, you know, like my products have to be accompanied with a user manual. I had to print them at home. I had to DIY a lot of things. You're talking about the YouTube. I had to do demos of my products on YouTube.
Mm.
These were free resources. Facebook is free to market. I am such a huge fan. It was even years later on, you know, that I didn't realize that it was even called digital marketing.
Oh,
We
yeah.
we've been selling on Twitter and selling on
Yeah.
Facebook and
Yeah.
later, you know, we've been marketing, posting links to our websites and discount codes before these things really became popular.
I
I
remember, Bisi, do you remember then you told me about
created my website.
emails? Do you remember emails? To collect emails and send emails. I remember you used to tell me them. I remember that your sewing machine, your conservatory, and all of those stuff. I used to ask you, BC, what is this email marketing? How do you do it? And you talk me through it. I remember. That is true. You've been doing digital marketing a while. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, for a long, long time. You know, because if you think about the fact that one of the major hurdles we that I think women, especially because we are, you know, speaking about this context, you know, the woman in business as well, is money, finances. And sometimes we want to have it all figured out. We want to have a fantastic posh office. We want to have how do I explain it? We want to have really a really fantastic website. We want to have everything figured out before we start. But actually, from my own, I'm not saying that's not the right thing to, for some people. For some people, they have to have everything figured out. But in my case, I started from nothing. I started with what I had. You know, my website, I had to learn how to create the website because I couldn't afford to pay a website developer. So I had to go to YouTube to learn. I had to teach myself HTML coding. I had to learn. Whilst I wasn't a techie person, you know, I had to learn everything from the scratch because it saved me money. You know, doing those things for myself saved me money. And I know right now, Facebook advertisements, you have to pay. And even when you pay Facebook, you can't be guaranteed. It really depends on how your advertisements have been placed.
Program.
You target market if it's not been expertly done. But in those days, when you post a link to your website on Facebook, you know, you can be guaranteed that people will find you. People can easily join your community. You can easily build a brand. Business was easier then because Mark Zuckerberg hadn't figured out how to monetize Facebook at the time.
Yeah.
It was easy to reach people. So within a couple of months, my customer feedback rose to 1,000. And I started thinking, is this me these people are talking about like this? Like, like you know, when people say amazing things about how your products have changed their lives, and people are writing glowing things about, you know, and do you know why I said this thing about is it me people are talking about? Because when you sell something that you've made by hand, sometimes you're so used to the whole creative process that you don't, it's almost like you don't really value what you do. You're thinking it has to be polished, like ones that are made in factories, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But clearly I knew what I was doing because I had researched and everything, you know, my industry, all the regulations I needed to do. But this wasn't done overnight. This was over time, if you know what I mean. But when the feedback started rolling in, even as simple as people appreciating that I put a handwritten note in the parcel. And so I was learning from my customers over time. Oh, looks like this is working. I'll continue doing it. Oh, looks like this one is not working. I have to stop doing it. And looks like this and that. You know, so there was no like business coach or whatever. So this is why those of us have been, we are natural business. We've had to learn from the mistakes we've made in
Yeah.
business.
That's right.
And we've had to learn you know, by doing something over and over and over again, you then just become experts at doing it because
That's right.
you made mistakes, you've learned from it. And let me tell you, in business, mistakes can cost you money. And so nobody will teach you. When you make mistakes and you lose money, you will learn not to make the same mistake again.
That's right.
Some marketing campaigns haven't worked out. Okay, maybe this is how I should have worded it. Maybe this is actually what I should have done. You know, things
Yeah.
like that. So I had to learn everything from scratch. But these days, oh my God, there are tons. I feel like the whole business ecosphere has massively blown. There's so many experts and coaches and gurus everywhere. There are resources on YouTube. You can say that you want to research a certain niche, and you will see thousands of links and of resources. You know, you won't even know which one you should go for because there are tons of resources there. So what
Yeah.
really is, you know,
Yeah.
Sonia, if you can remember, we didn't anything. We had to improvise. We had to
That's
do
right.
things. But these days, you know, I feel like there is so much more now for people who are looking to get into business. There is
Yeah.
lots of resources now.
That's good. Thank you so much, BC. Loads of memory, there was loads of memory flushing in right there. So can you tell us how were you able to then move your product? Because I remember, even though you were home then, your presentation, the in terms of doing things the right way, you were very keen. You were very consistent with that. How do you then move? Okay, you're producing it by yourself, now you're getting more sales. How did you then move from home to then get into, I know you used to have freelancers working for you, and now you manufacture it, and now you even have a warehouse where your product is. How did you manage to, if you could just summarize it, how did you manage to get it from home
Yeah, I know you
to the
talk.
global world? Because I know your product is in Germany, is in different places here.
Yes. So in all over Europe and also USA as well,
Mm,
basically all around the world, Japan, everywhere. So I know you talked about transition. It's so important, you know,
mhm,
and I think when you and this is why I said I had to learn from making mistakes because I guess at the time I started the business, I wasn't thinking about, I didn't realize that a time was going to come when I was going to outgrow my conservatory. I was in my conservatory, but I outgrew my conservatory. So it so happened that sometimes life will be telling you it's time for you to scale up.
mhm.
Your business will grow, more income, more sales, and you know that it's time for you to do better. It's time for you to step up. But you just, sometimes in life, we just want to keep things, small and things like that. So it was almost as though my first move to actually getting the premises, like a warehouse or office outside my home, it almost came as a forceful thing because I didn't feel like I was overly prepared, but I had to do it. So a couple of a couple of filmmakers from the USA, a documentary called Highly Sought After. So they were interviewing women in my industry, and they had written to me. And when I looked at the lineup, I was basically, you know, lined up with big manufacturers.
Wow.
Really, these are manufacturers that make in Middle East or China or India or something, really big name products. And I was like, wow, these filmmakers are coming all the way to interview me, to ask about how I support families with my products and my services. And I just thought, when you look at my customer base at the time, it had absolutely gone through the roof. I thought it would not be professional for me to bring, obviously they were outsiders, to bring them into my home to film
Yeah.
my. So I just felt that the scale of the business at the time, that in terms of how I presented it, I felt that I could do better. I should do better. Obviously, working from home meant I didn't have to pay for an office or a
Yeah.
warehouse or anything. But at the time, I had no choice. And this is why I said it was almost something I was supposed to do. I had,
Mm.
you know, I had no choice. So, and that's why I started from the scratch. I had to go for a self-storage at the time,
Mm.
which, oh my God, was a big deal to me at the time because
Mm.
my office and the self-storage had a reception downstairs where there was someone who would receive parcels for me. So if I had like a customer returns, they would help me receive it. And that was really helping. So if I was not there, there was someone to receive things on my behalf. If I wanted to post things, I can leave it there and Real Milk can pick it up. That was a step. That was something that made me realize, well, actually, I'm much more than a home um, I'm much more than a work at home mom. I'm capable of doing better. And when they came, and when the lads arrived from the USA, wow, they were absolutely blown away because we
Ah.
set the whole office up, we put all, you see, all my certificates were on the wall, we displayed. And let me tell you, where you well, it can inspire you to want to do better. You know,
That's
we put
right.
all my certificates were on the wall, my products were displayed. I was inspired, like, wow, this is looking like a real business now. This is like, I just wanted to buy socks and toys for my kids. It was almost as though I wasn't prepared at the time for how it
Mm.
went through the roof. So, like, I shared in my book about the time a retailer paid me £4,000 to supply my products. And I was just shaking like that. Oh my God, this is a lot of money. Obviously, in those days, it was a lot. It was like, wow, how am I going to handle this? Thank God I have, the the support of my husband, and we're able to manage everything, and we supply the goods at the right time and stuff like that. But when you think about how the business started with less than £100,
Mm.
then you can see that it is possible to start from the very, very scratch.
That's right.
Right, listen to your customers, try to replicate what's working for you, learn from your mistakes, and yeah, it is really possible.
Thank you, Viti. And presentation,
Yeah,
even while you were at home, your presentation was top notch.
thank
It
you.
was. It was really, really good. And over the years, you've been consistent with that presentation and you keep upping it up. So even though you're saying, oh, this, don't treat your business anyhow, and you expect other people to treat it very well. You need to learn to present your business very, very well. Like Bisi said, learn from the mistakes and move on from it. I always tell people failure is the best teacher.
Yeah,
Success is a lousy teacher because sometimes you become complacent. You don't learn so much from it. You don't even know, oh, okay, I got it. And then you just move. But you will self-reflect more when things do not work out. So please do not give up if you are at that verge right now. You're trying to do everything. First thing, don't call your business side also, please. Don't call. Don't. I ban you. I ban you from using that word. I don't like that word. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. So business is business. Call it a business. Whether you're doing it from your kitchen, whether you're doing it from your studio or home, location is irrelevant. Focus on the value.
exactly.
The value that you are given, the consistency, the preservation, your willingness to learn, it is very, very important. BC, this has been a masterclass. You see all the love that you're getting. This has been a masterclass. You've talked to us about how you entered politics. You were brave. You didn't want to be the one that will be complaining on the side. Rather, you went in there and you gave it a go. You did your best. You've not been voted in once, you've been voted in twice, BC. Let me shout that from the rooftop, right? You were re-elected. It means you are serving your people well. Okay, and let's know this, there's no godfatherism. If you are interested in politics, people that are interested in politics, BC, can they just join the party and then work their way into volunteering? Is that how to go about it? For
Yeah,
anybody that is watching this, that will say, okay, how do I even get into it? What word have you got for them?
yeah. So I was absolutely spot on. Or well, in saying that anybody can go into politics. Certainly, you do have to decide on the party that you would like to join, or if you want to be independent. And also, I think it's worth saying that whilst I'm a councillor, actually, politics isn't just about being a councillor or a mayor or an MP. There are people who are in politics or they're engaging with the whole political process and they have a title. They are campaigners, there are people that are there, out there, maybe trying to support workers who are striking, protest, or anything. One way or the other want to make a change. So yes, politics isn't just about uh, you know having a title.
Yeah.
Like I said, I started with being a volunteer in my party, and then I got to know the issues that people were concerned about. I got to understand the whole political climate. But it's very possible that people might have other avenues that they actually come into politics. You understand? So if you want to join, like for example, my party, you simply just need to go to Google, join the Labour Party. You have to pay membership fees, which is, in my opinion, for what you get and the support you get, it is really, really reasonable. I don't change, but it's as a student, you also get some discounts as well. And when you actually join a political party, like say my party, you will get an email from somebody who is like a local rep of your area. They will tell you about meetings.
Okay.
And these meetings are juicy. Do you know why? You go to these meetings, you see, when you watch the TV and you watch all those parliamentary debates and stuff, but you then go into these meetings in your local area and you see real life activists debating, maybe about Brexit or about something. It's your chance. And when those debates are happening, you can put your hands up and talk. That's the way you know who you are. Because
that's good.
when you think about the vast areas that affect people in your community, there will be something that you're interested in. Like I'm interested in children, women, issues to do with speaking up for people who are disabled, speaking up for carers, speaking up for people of ethnic minority, speaking up for vulnerable people. So it was easy for me because I had lived experiences to actually speak up in those. And this said, being in politics isn't just about being an MP or being a councillor or being the mayor of your city or your town. You can actually be engaged in other ways. We have women's officer, we have CL, we have activists who basically just go around talking to people in the local area about, how to get more people involved in politics or what's going on. So there are lots of ways that I think people can get involved, but certainly there's a likelihood that once you start, you certainly want to consider being maybe or an MP, because it is a very interesting process. In fact, if you attend your first political meeting, you will be inspired. You will be inspired because you see people like you debating, having intellectual discussions on subjects that you're passionate about. You will also want to add your voice as well to that.
I'll make the difference. So Bisi, are you going to go to MP and then our Prime Minister, that route? Are you going that route? What are you doing? What's the plan?
Let's keep our fingers crossed.
Woo! I love that. I love that. I love a good suspense. Bisi, thank you so, so much. I've enjoyed my time with you this evening. I don't want to take much of your time because I feel like I have. Thank you, Divine. Thank you, Isaac Fumi. Thank you, ATC Cake. Thank you, Lady Mo. Thank you, Lola Day. Thank you, BDRS Cakes, for staying put and Queen B as well. We love your contribution earlier. Thank you so much. I hope if you have any question, type it. If not, I'm going to have to release our counselor to go and rest. Tomorrow is another busy day. She's got the business. She's got loads of stuff that she needs to do. And I know you guys that are watching, you've got loads of stuff to do as well. So thank you so, so much. I can't see any question. Bisi, what's your final word today? Thank you for honoring our invitation to come and inspire, motivate us today on a Black History Month, October. You know, I love Black History Month. I love our culture so much. So thank you so much. Any final word, BC, before
Yeah,
we go?
thank you so much, first of all, Coach Sonia, for the fantastic work you do, by your consistency, even by the way you yourself and and how you facilitate these discussions. It is inspiring for me. We
Thank you.
absolutely inspiring. I love the fact that in your zone there are no excuses. You constantly show up. So for me, as a last word for Black History Month, I would like to share a quote from a woman who I think a lot of Black women who are looking to go into politics or business should, maybe you should Google her. She's a very interesting character in politics. Her name is Stacey Abrams, and there was this quote that she shared: when people doubt your right to be somewhere, the
Mm.
responsibility falls on you to prove over and over again that you deserve to be there.
Wow, I love that. I absolutely love that. When people doubt, it is your responsibility. I love it that, yeah, taking responsibility. That's where the change starts from. Thank you so much, BC. I'm going to be sleeping on that word. What was her name again? Abraham, Stacey Abraham.
Yes, Stacey Abrams. Yes.
Yeah, Abraham, I'm going to look into her. Thank you so much, BC. My love to your husband, my love to Joe. Oh, by the way, BC, your book. If you could just send the link on the this thing, I will share on my stories as well. If you want to order BC's book, seriously, it is so interesting. Very, very interesting to read her books. There are some that she has co-authored as well. If you are interested, DM me. I will send you the link to get it on Amazon. And she is also the founder of Joy and Joe Baby Wear as well. So if you want to follow her to get she doesn't often come online. I know that she normally hides. But when she comes out, she's more active on Facebook on the other groups. So, but when she comes out. But just stay tuned and follow her. Thank you so much, BC. Love to everyone. Good night. Good night, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.